meeting, first of all, is a meeting of central bank governors of the Mefmi region. And each year when we meet them, we choose a topic which is important or topical. So for this year, we chose the topic of the admission of the Chinese currency yuan into the IMF basket of currencies. Now, we think that this topic is very important because China is our biggest trading partner. All of us are working with the Chinese in one way or another. Most of us export our commodities to China, and we import a lot of things. A lot of projects now in the infrastructure area in our countries are being done by the Chinese and so forth. And we are borrowing money through China Exim Bank to finance many of these projects. Now, we got to pay back some of this money. Even when we transact, export things, we've got to be paid back. Now, obviously, the currency you use matters quite a lot. Now, if you borrowed money from one country and the currency you are supposed to pay back is also the currency you earn from your export business, you avoid the exchange risk that arises when you are using various currencies. So, with the admission of the Chinese yuan into the IMF basket of currencies, to a large extent, is very beneficial to those of us who are exposed to trade or to transactions with China. So, we needed therefore to discuss with the governors, the central banks of the region, how this whole development will affect them, what are the advantages, are there any disadvantages, and so forth, so that we become a little bit wiser rather than just having something before us before we even know what it's going to do to our economies and how we should be able to manage our economies with the new opportunity created by a new currency being used internationally. So that's the reason why we're here. We've got experts. We've got somebody from the Bank for International Settlement, head of banking, who's going to be talking after the tea break. And that is the Bank for Central Banks, the Bank for International Settlements. And so they have a lot of good understanding on how this new arrangement is going to impact on all of us. And we're looking forward to a very exciting discussion.
Distinguished Governors and Deputy Governors, it is a privilege to be here to support Mefmi's 2016 Central Bank Governors Forum. I'm certain it will be a morning of stimulating conversation. We will be delving into the major challenges and opportunities that the countries of Eastern and Southern Africa face as the world becomes more interconnected and multipolar. Our discussion around the inclusion of the renminbi into the SDR is just one example of the greater influence of Asia on the world stage. But the region also needs strong institutions to help its states play their full role in a more globalized world. And today we will also be exploring how we can achieve that aim. I would like to thank Mefmi for bringing together such an esteemed group of central bank governors and the Bank of Tanzania for hosting us today. This is an enormously important initiative that Investec Asset Management is proud to be associated with. Thank you very much.
First, it gives me great pleasure to be here this morning and participate with you in this important Mefmi Region Central Bank Governors Forum. May I take this opportunity on behalf of the Bank of Tanzania and indeed on my own behalf to welcome you all to Tanzania. I would like to extend a special welcome to our colleagues from the region and beyond who have joined us for this event. Distinguished colleagues, I'm very glad that Mefmi chose Dar es Salaam to be the venue for this important event, which is also being held on the eve of the Bank of Tanzania's Golden Jubilee celebrations, scheduled for 22nd of June 2016. This gives additional meaning to our 50th anniversary celebrations, and we are indeed honored to host the forum and to host you. And we thank you so much for joining us in the series of events leading to the anniversary celebrations. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to express my sincere gratitude to the Mefmi Secretariat for their resolve to reintroduce the Governors Forum in 2015 after a long break. Let me assure the Secretariat that as central bank governors, we greatly appreciate this event as it provides a platform for frank and open exchange of views among governors. The event has become an important platform for raising awareness and coming up with a common understanding on emerging economic issues in this ever-changing global economic environment. One wise man once said, "Forewarned is forearmed, and to be prepared is half the victory." Indeed, being cognizant of emerging opportunities and risks ahead of time allows us to take measures that appropriately respond to them. We have found the fora discussions to be forward-looking and practical in their focus on policies and strategies needed to confront emerging issues head-on. In this regard, we stand ready to recommend that invitations for similar events be extended to other colleagues within the African continent in future to allow for synergy and cross-pollination of ideas. Distinguished colleagues, I'm reliably informed that the context for much of today's deliberations will be based on the decision made by the IMF board on 30th November 2015 to include the Chinese yuan, renminbi, into the special drawing rights or SDR basket. This theme could not have been more appropriate for our region, let alone the central bankers who will be thinking about how to manage the exchange rates and reallocate their reserves to match more closely the currencies that make up the SDR basket. The decision, ladies and gentlemen, reflects major shifts in the global economy and is a recognition of China's progress over the last few decades in moving towards a more open and market-based economy. The People's Republic of China plays an increasingly prominent role in the world economy, and it would seem entirely logical that its currency should also play a prominent role in the international financial markets. And by the way, it is also true that in PPP terms, the Chinese economy is the largest economy in the world. It's only in nominal currency terms that America remains bigger than China. So taking into account purchasing value of currency, we are talking about the biggest economy in the world. And again, welcome to Tanzania and to Dar es Salaam, and I thank you for your attention.
And I think beyond just being part of the SDR, it's really the Chinese currency being internationalized, more than just being included in the SDR. As our area said, I think soon we'll be looking at the Indian rupee, whether it's part of the SDR or not. I think what's key is the importance and dominance of the Chinese economy and the global economy in general. So when you look at the challenges that we face today as central banks or reserve managers, is traditionally we focus on preserving capital for the value of our reserves as we try to earn some revenue from these resources or reserves. And originally we didn't have any big problem, just select AAA products and place our reserves with AAA institutions and government bonds that are highly rated. But with the development since the 2008 crisis, most of these AAA institutions, or those used to be highly rated government bonds, and no longer guarantee preservation of the value of reserves, and earnings, as we said, has also become negative in different countries. So it's becoming more challenging for reserve managers to achieve mainly the three objectives of capital preservation, earning some revenue, and providing liquidity for any payment requirements.
This conference, we're talking about how we can use the Chinese currency, the yuan, as a reserve currency, as a settlement currency, and maybe as also an investment currency. So I think it was very important to us that with the world's largest trading country being China, and also the second largest economy in the world, it's important for us that the yuan is now part of the IMF special drawing rights, which means that now we're able to diversify our foreign exchange holdings, but also expand our trade. As we trade more in the yuan, as we settle more of our trade in the yuan, I think our trade with China will also increase, which means that as Africa, we become more integrated in the global economy.